Alright guys, we're on Act 1, Scene 3. Act 1, Scene 3 of The Merchant of Venice. So Act 1, Scene 3, enter Bassanio and Shylock. So enter Bassanio and Shylock. So Shylock says, 3,000 ducats. Well, 3,000 ducats. It's like money. Aye, sir, for 3 months. For 3 months, he says. Shylock, for 3 months. Well, for 3 months. So Bassanio, for the which, as I told you, Antonio shall be bound. As I said before, Antonio will guarantee the loan. If I default, he'll pay you. Shylock, Antonio shall become bound. Well, Antonio will guarantee it. So I guess Bassanio's asking Shylock for money. Bassanio, may you stead me. Will you pleasure me? Shall I know your answer? Can you help me? What's your answer? Shylock, 3,000 ducats for 3 months and Antonio bound. 3,000 ducats for 3 months and Antonio will guarantee it. Bassanio, your answer to that? Antonio is a good man, Shylock says. So Bassanio says, have you heard any imputation to the contrary? Like, have you heard anything else besides him being a good man, Antonio? So he's asking Shylock for money, but Antonio is going to be what do they call it when you get bad credit, you're trying to get something? Your co-signer. Shylock says, oh, no. My meaning in saying he is a good man is to have you understand me that he is sufficient. Yet his means are in supposition. He hath an argosy bound to Tripoli, another to the Indies. I understand moreover upon the Rialto, he hath a third at Mexico, a fourth for England, and other ventures he hath squandered abroad. So Shylock responds, let me plain English. What? No. What I meant in saying he's a good man is that he has enough money to guarantee the loan, but his investments are uncertain right now. He has one ship bound for Tripoli, another heading for the Indies. What's more, people at the Rialto tell me he has a third ship in Mexico and a fourth in England, as well as other business ventures throughout the world. So the Rialto is the business district of Venice, where the merchants meet. So continue, Shylock, but ships are but boards, sailors but men. There be land rats and water thieves and land thieves, I mean pirates, and then there is the peril of waters, winds, and rocks. The man is notwithstanding sufficient, 3,000 ducats. I think I may take his bond. So in English, or American English, but ships are just fragile boards, and sailors are just men. There are rats and thieves and pirates, not to mention storms, winds, and rocks. Anything could happen, but in spite of all this, the man is still wealthy enough. 3,000 ducats, I think I can let him guarantee your loan. I assure you he can. Be assured you may, Bassanio responds. Shylock, I will be assured I may, and that I may be assured, I will bethink thee. May I speak with Antonio? I will be sure he can before I make the loan, and I'll think of a way to be sure. Can I speak with Antonio? Bassanio responds, if it please you to dine with us. If you like, you can eat with us. Shylock responds, yes, to smell pork, to eat of the habitation which your prophet, the Nazarite, conjured the devil into. I will buy with you, sell with you, talk with you, walk with you, and so follow me, but I will not eat with you, drink with you, nor pray with you. What news on the Rialto? Who is he comes here? Enters Antonio. Shylock responds in plain English, oh yes, to smell pork? I don't think so. Your prophet Jesus sent the devil into a herd of pigs. I'm not going to eat that. I'll buy with you, sell with you, talk with you, walk with you, and so on, but I won't eat with you, drink with you, or pray with you. Any news on the Rialto? Who's that? Antonio enters. So any meat from pigs like pork or bacon is forbidden by Jewish dietary law. So I guess Shylock is a Jew, which is fine. So Bassanio, this is Signor Antonio. He's telling him, well, Antonio just came in. Shylock, speaking in Shakespearean language, aside. So he's saying this like to the side. How like a fawning publican he looks. I hate him, for he is a Christian, but more for that in low simplicity he lends out money gratis and brings down the rate of usance here with us in Venice. If I can catch him once upon the hip, I will feed fat the ancient grudge I bear him. He hates our sacred nation, and he rails, even there where merchants most do congregate, on me, my bargains, and my well-won thrift, which he calls interest. Cursed be my tribe if I forgive him. So he doesn't like Antonio. So Shylock says this in American English to himself, or he says it to himself. He doesn't even tell Bassanio this. He looks just like a guy who's robbed me but now comes to beg me for a favor. I hate him because he's a Christian. But more than that, I hate him because he stupidly lends money without interest, which lowers the interest rates here in Venice. If I can just get the upper hand of him once, I'll satisfy my old grudge against him. He hates Jews. Even at the Rialto, he's always complaining about me and my negotiating and my hard-earned profits, which he calls interest. It would an insult to Jews everywhere to forgive that man. So Bassanio says, Shylock, are you listening? Shylock, do you hear? Shylock, I am debating of my present store, and by the near guess of my memory, I cannot instantly raise up the gross of full 3,000 ducats. What of that? Tubal, a wealthy Hebrew of my tribe, will furnish me, but soft, how many months do you desire? And then to Antonio, rest you fair, good signor, your worship was the last man in our mouths. He's like, no, we were just talking about you. So Shylock, what he's saying in plain English, I'm thinking about how much cash I have on hand. If I remember correctly, I can't raise the entire 3,000 ducats immediately. But so what? Tubal, a wealthy Jew I know, will supply me with the cash, but wait a minute, how many months do you want? So then to Antonio, oh, hello, how are you, senor? We were just talking about you. My Shakespearean is getting better. Antonio, Shylock, albeit I neither lend nor borrow, by taking nor by giving of excess, yet to supply the ripe wants of my friend, I'll break a custom. To Bassanio, is he yet possessed? How much ye would? Like, did you tell him how much you need? So in plain English, Shylock, although I never lend or borrow with interest, I'm willing to break that habit to help a friend in need. To Bassanio, does he know how much you need? So Antonio was telling Shylock, and yeah. Shylock responds, hey, 3,000 ducats. Yeah, 3,000 ducats. Ducats? D-U-C-A-T-S. And for 3 months, Antonio says. Shylock says, I had forgot, 3 months. To Bassanio, you told me so. To Antonio, well then, your bond, and let me see. But here you, methought you said you neither lend nor borrow upon advantage. So Shylock's, yes, I forgot, 3 months. To Bassanio, you told me that. To Antonio, now then, about your guarantee, let me see. But listen, Antonio, I thought you said you don't lend or borrow with interest. Antonio responds, I do never use it. That's right, that's how I do business. Shylock responds, when Jacob grazed his uncle Laban's sheep, this Jacob from our holy Abram was, as his wise mother wrought in his behalf, the third possessor. He was the third. So this is what he's saying. When Jacob took care of his uncle Laban's sheep, Jacob was the heir to his grandfather Abraham's birthright, because his mother cleverly arranged for her husband Isaac to make Jacob his heir. Yeah, and Esau, remember? He dressed him up and he was hairy. Remember his mom put a fast one? And what of him? Did he take interest? Antonio was responding to Shylock. Shylock's a Jew. What's your point? Did he charge interest? Shylock responds, no, not take interest, not as you would say directly interest. Mark what Jacob did. When Laban and himself were compromised, that all the endlings which were streaked and pied should fall at Jacob's hire, the ewes being ranked in the end of autumn turned to the rams. And when the work of generation was between these woolly breeders in the act, the skillful shepherd peeled me certain wands, and in the doing of the deed of kind he stuck them up before the fulsome ewes, who then conceiving did in eaning time fall party-colored lambs, and those were Jacob's. This was a way to thrive, and he was blessed, and thrift is blessing if men still it not. So what he was saying in plain English, no, we didn't charge interest, not in your sense of the word, but listen to what Jacob did. When he and Laban agreed that all the spotted lambs will be Jacob's pay, it was the end of autumn when the sheep were starting to mate. Because newborns look like whatever their mother sees during mating, he stuck some spotted branches into the ground right in front of the sheep, who saw them while they mated. The mothers later gave birth to spotted lambs, all of which went to Jacob. That was his way of expanding his business, and it worked. My point is that profit is a blessing, as long as you don't steal to get it. So that's a story from Genesis 30. So Antonio responds, this was a venture, sir, that Jacob served for, a thing not in his power to bring to pass, but swayed and fashioned by the hand of heaven. Was this inserted to make interest good, or is it your gold and silver ewes and rams? So in plain English, that business venture you're referring to happened because God made it happen like that. Jacob didn't have any control over what happened. Are you saying the story proves that charging interest makes sense? That your interest payments are like Jacob's sheep? Shylock responds, I cannot tell. I make it breed as fast. But note me, senor. Wait. So that's the end of Shylock. I can hardly tell the difference. I make my money multiply as fast as those sheep. But listen to me, senor. So Antonio responds on the next page. Mark you this, Bassanio. The devil can cite scripture for his purpose. An evil soul producing holy witnesses like a villain with a smiling cheek. A goodly apple rotten at the heart. Oh, what a goodly outside falsehood hath. So he's talking to Bassanio, but he's kind of dissing Shylock, I think. Watch out, Bassanio. The devil can quote scripture for his own use. An evil soul using a holy story is like a criminal who smiles at you. He looks like a good apple, but he's rotten at the core. Oh, liars can look so honest. Shylock responds, 3,000 ducats, 'tis a good round sum. 3 months from 12, then let me see the rate. 3,000 ducats, that's a nice even sum. 3 months from 12 months of the year, let me see, the interest rate will be. Antonio says, wow, Shylock, shall we be beholding to you? Like, are you going to loan us the money? Shylock responds, Signor Antonio, many a time and oft in the Rialto you have rated me about my monies and my usances. Still have I borne it with a patient shrug, for sufferance is the badge of all our tribe. You call me misbeliever, cutthroat dog, and spit upon my Jewish garberdine, and all for use of that which is mine own. Well then, it now appears you need my help. Go to, then. You come to me and you say, Shylock, we would have monies. You say so? You that did voyage your room upon my beard and foot me as you spurn a stranger cur over your threshold. Money is your suit. What should I say to you? Should I not say hath a dog money? Is it possible a cur can lend 3,000 ducats? Or shall I bend low and in a bondman's key with bated breath and whispering humbleness say this? Fair sir, you spat on me on Wednesday last. You spurned me such a day. Another time you called me a dog, and for these courtesies I'll lend you thus much monies? He's asking, like, you've been dissing me, you want me to lend you money? So this is what he's saying in plain English. Signor Antonio, you often insulted my money and my business practices in the Rialto. I've always just shrugged and put up with it because Jews are good at suffering. You called me a heathen, a dirty dog, and you spit on my Jewish clothes, and all because I use my own money to make a profit, and now it looks like you need my help. All right then, you come to me saying, Shylock, we need money. You say that even though you spat on my beard and kicked me like you'd kick a stray mutt out your front door, and now you're asking for money? What can I tell you? Shouldn't I say, does a dog have money? Is it possible for a mutt to lend 3,000 ducats? Or should I bend down low and in a humble and submissive voice say, Sir, last Wednesday you spit on me, you insulted me on this day, and another time you called me a dog. And out of gratitude for these favors, I'll be happy to lend you the money? Antonio responds, I am as like to call thee so again, to spit on thee again, to spurn thee too. If thou wilt lend this money, lend it not as to thy friends, for when did friendship take a breed for barren metal of his friend? But lend it rather to thine enemy, who, if he break, thou mayest with better face exact the penalty. I'll probably call you those names again and spit on you and reject you again too. If you're going to lend us this money, don't lend it to us as if we were your friends. When did friends charge interest? Instead, lend it to me as your enemy. If your enemy goes bankrupt, it's easier for you to take your penalty from him. Shylock responds, Why, look you how you storm. I would be friends with you and have your love. Forget the shames that you have stained me with. Supply your present wants and take no doit of usance for my monies, and you'll not hear me. This is kind I offer. So what he's saying, look at you getting all riled up. I want to be friends with you and forget all the times you embarrassed and humiliated me. I want to give you what you need and not charge penny of interest, but you won't listen to me. I'm making a kind offer, 0% financing. Bassanio says, this were kindness. That really would be kind, Bassanio says. So Bassanio's just kind of peeking in. Shylock, this kindness will I show. Go with me to a notary, seal me there your single bond, and in a merry sport, if you repay me not on such a day, in such a place, such sum or sums as are expressed in the condition, let the forfeit be nominated for an equal pound of your fair flesh to be cut off and taken in what part of your body pleaseth me. I'll show you how kind I am. Come with me to a notary, and we'll make it official. And let's add a little clause just for a joke. If you don't repay me on the day we agree on, in the place we name for the sum of money fixed in our contract, your penalty will be a pound of your pretty flesh to be cut off and taken out of whatever part of your body I like. Antonio responds, Content and faith, I'll seal to such a bond, and say there is much kindness in the Jew. It's a deal. I'll agree to those terms and even say that Jews are nice. Bassanio, you shall not seal to such a bond for me. I rather dwell in my necessity. Bassanio says, no, you can't sign a contract like that for me. I'd rather go without the money. Antonio, why, fear not, man. I will not forfeit it. Within these 2 months, that's a month before this bond expires, I do expect return of three times the value of this bond. Antonio, don't worry about it, man. I won't have to pay any penalty. In 2 months, a month before this loan is due, I expect to earn more than 3 times that much from my investments. Shylock responds, O Father Abram, what these Christians are, whose own hard dealings teaches them suspect of the thoughts of others. So let me say, O Father Abram, what these Christians are, whose own hard dealings teaches them suspect the thoughts of others. Pray you, tell me this. If he should break his day, what should I gain by the exaction of the forfeiture? A pound of man's flesh taken from a man is not so estimable, profitable neither as flesh of muttons, beefs, or goats. I say, to buy his favor I extend this friendship. If he will take it, so, if not, adieu. And for my love I pray you wrong me not. So this is what he's saying. Oh, Father Abraham, what kind of people are these Christians? Their own meanness teaches them to suspect other people. Please tell me this. If he fails to repay me by the deadline, what would I get out of such a penalty? A pound of human flesh taken isn't even as valuable as a pound of mutton or beef. I'm just offering this as a favor to a friend. If he agrees, great. If not, goodbye, and I hope you won't think badly of me. Antonio, yes, Shylock, I will seal unto this bond. I'll sign the contract and agree to its terms. Shylock says, then meet me forthwith at the notary's. Give him direction for this merry bond, and I will go and purse the ducat straight. See to my house left in the fearful guard of an unthrifty knave, and presently I will be with you. Then meet me right away at the notary's. Give him the instructions for our amusing little contract, and I'll go get the money for you right away. I need to check in at home first because one of my careless servants is in charge right now. I'll see you soon. Antonio, hi thee, gentle Jew. Hurry up, my Jewish friend. Shylock exits. Exit Shylock. Antonio continues, the Hebrew will turn Christian. He grows kind. He's so kind you think the Jew is turning Christian. Bassanio says, I like not fair terms in a villain's mind. I don't like it when a villain acts nice. Antonio, come on, in this there can be no dismay. My ships come home a month before the day. Exeunt. Antonio, this is what he says, come on, there's no reason to worry. My ships will come home a month before the money is due. They exit. It's pretty cool. So the lender is the Jewish Shylock. So Bassanio asked Shylock for money, and Antonio is going to be the guarantor. He's going to be the co-signer. And they made a funny deal that every day he's late on paying it back, or if he's not on time, he's going to take a pound of his flesh from whatever part of his body that pleaseth him. So Shylock's a Jew, and Antonio's a Christian, but Antonio's a shit talker. He's like, kind of talk shit about them being hustlers, but with honest business, you know? Because Christians are kind of like against any such capitalism.